overseer program, to be known as CyberSentry, to provide continuous monitoring and detection of cybersecurity risks to critical infrastructure entities that own or operate industrial control systems that support national critical functions, upon request and subject to the consent of such owner or operator. B. Activities. The Director, through CyberSentry, shall 1. Enter into strategic partnerships with critical infrastructure owners and operators that, in the determination of the Director and subject to the availability of resources, own or operate regionally or nationally significant industrial control systems that support national critical functions, in order to provide technical assistance in the form of continuous monitoring of industrial control systems and the information systems that support such systems and detection of cybersecurity risks to such industrial control systems and other cybersecurity services, as appropriate, based on and subject to the agreement and consent of such owner or operator. 2. Leverage sensitive or classified intelligence about cybersecurity risks regarding particular sectors, particular adversaries, and trends in tactics, techniques, and procedures to advise critical infrastructure owners and operators regarding mitigation measures and share information as appropriate. 3. Identify cybersecurity risks in the information technology and information systems that support industrial control systems which could be exploited by adversaries attempting to gain access to such industrial control systems, and work with owners and operators to remediate such vulnerabilities. 4. Produce aggregated, anonymized analytic products based on threat hunting and continuous monitoring and detection activities and partnerships, with findings and recommendations that can be disseminated to critical infrastructure owners and operators. And 5. Support activities authorized in accordance with Section 1501 of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022. C. Privacy review not later than 180 days after the date of enactment of this section. The privacy officer of the agency under Section 2202 H shall 1. Review the policies, guidelines, and activities of CyberSentry for compliance with all applicable privacy laws, including such laws governing the acquisition, interception, retention, use, and disclosure of communities, and 2. Submit to the Committee on Homeland Security of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs of the Senate a report certifying compliance with all applicable privacy laws as referred to in paragraph 1, or identifying any instances of non-compliance with such privacy laws. D. Report to Congress. Not later than 1 year after the date of the enactment of this section, the Director shall provide to the Committee on Homeland Security of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs of the Senate a briefing and written report on implementation of this section. E. Savings. Nothing in this section may be construed to permit the federal government to gain access to information of a remote computing service provider to the public or an electronic service provider to the public, the disclosure of which is not permitted under Section 2702 of Title 18, United States Code. F. Definitions in this section. 1. Cybersecurity risk. The term cybersecurity risk has the meaning given such term in Section 2209 A. 2. Industrial control system. The term industrial control system means an information system used to monitor and/or control industrial processes such as manufacturing, product handling, production, and distribution, including supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA, systems used to monitor and/or control geographically dispersed assets, distributed control systems, DCSs, human-machine interfaces, HMIs, and programmable logic controllers that control localized processes. 3. Information system. The term information system has the meaning given such term in Section 102 of the Cybersecurity Act of 2015, enacted as Division N of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, 2016. Public Law 114-113, 6 U.S.C. 1501, 9. G. Termination. The authority to carry out a program under this section shall terminate on the date that is 7 years after the date of the enactment of this section. B. Clerical amendment. The table of contents in Section 1(b) of the Homeland Security Act of 2002 is further amended by adding after the item relating to Section 2220B the following new item: Sector 2220C. Cybersentry Program. C. Continuous Monitoring and Detection, Section 2209, C. 6. of the Homeland Security Act of 2002, 6 U.S.C. 659, is amended by inserting, which may take the form of continuous monitoring and detection of cybersecurity risks to critical infrastructure entities that own or operate industrial control systems that support national critical functions after mitigation and remediation. Sec. 1549. Strategic assessment relating to innovation of information systems and cybersecurity threats. A. Responsibilities of Director, Section 2202, C. 3, of the Homeland Security Act of 2002, 6 U.S.C. 652. is amended by striking the semicolon at the end and adding the following, including by carrying out a periodic strategic assessment of the related programs and activities of the agency to ensure such programs and activities contemplate the innovation of information systems and changes in cybersecurity risks and cybersecurity threats. B. Report 1. In general, not later than 240 days after the date of the enactment of this Act and not fewer than once every 3 years thereafter, the Director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency shall submit to the Committee on Homeland Security of the House of Representatives and the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs of the Senate a strategic assessment for the purposes described in paragraph 2. 2. Purposes. The purposes described in this paragraph are the following: A. A description of the existing programs and activities administered in furtherance of Section 2202, C. 3, of the Homeland Security Act of 2002, 6 U.S.C. 652. B. An assessment of the capability of existing programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section to monitor for, manage, mitigate, and defend against cybersecurity risks and cybersecurity threats. C. An assessment of past or anticipated technological trends or innovation of information systems or information technology that have the potential to affect the efficacy of the programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section. D. A description of any changes in the practices of the federal workforce, such as increased telework, affect the efficacy of the programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of Section 2202, c. 3. E. A plan to integrate innovative security tools, technologies, protocols, activities, or programs to improve the programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section. F. A description of any research and development activities necessary to enhance the programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section. G. A description of proposed changes to existing programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section, including corresponding milestones for implementation. H. Information relating to any new resources or authorities necessary to improve the programs and activities administered by the agency in furtherance of such section. C. Definitions in this section. 1. The term agency means the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. 2. The term cybersecurity purpose has the meaning given such term in Section 102(4) of the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015, 6 U.S.C. 1501(4). 3. The term cybersecurity risk has the meaning given such term in Section 2209(a)(2) of the Homeland Security Act of 2002, U.S.C. 659(a)(2). 4. The term information system has the meaning given such term in Section 3502(8) of Title 44, United States Code. 5. The term information technology has the meaning given such term in 3502(9) of Title 44, United States Code. 6. The term telework has the meaning given the term in Section 6501(3) of Title 5, United States Code. Sec. 1550. Pilot Program on Public-Private Partnerships with Internet Ecosystem Companies to Detect and Disrupt Adversary Cyber Operations. A. Pilot required. Not later than 1 year after the date of the enactment of this Act, the Secretary, acting through the Director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency of the Department of Homeland Security and in coordination with the Secretary of Defense and the National Cyber Director, shall commence a pilot program to assess the feasibility and advisability of entering into public-private partnerships with Internet ecosystem companies to facilitate, within the bounds of applicable provisions of law and such companies' terms of service, policies, procedures, contracts, and other agreements, actions by such companies to discover and disrupt use by malicious cyber actors of the platforms, systems, services, and infrastructure of such companies. B. Public-private partnerships. 1. In general. In carrying out the pilot program under subsection A, the Secretary shall seek to enter into one or more public-private partnerships with Internet ecosystem companies. 2. Voluntary participation. A. In general, Participation by an Internet ecosystem company in a public-private partnership under the